I think what took me, though, by the most surprise is that we're still debating our dignity as LGBTQ Americans at the Supreme Court. It was groundbreaking, it was historic today, but I also really want to point to the fact that last week, two Black trans women were murdered, that on Friday, healthcare protections were rolled back for the transgender community. And so today is amazing and it's phenomenal. But it's still, I mean, I want to put this in context for people that we're debating whether or not I can be fired from my job at the Supreme Court simply because I'm gay. It shouldn't even be a discussion, but it is a discussion today in America, and that is the problem. We're thrilled that it came down this way, and I was surprised by Gorsuch. I was surprised that it was 6-3. That shouldn't be surprising, though. That the human right of work in America you can be fired from your job because you're gay or because you're trans, should not be up for debate.
Yeah, very good point, because the argument really is, up until today, Sarah Kate, you and I could get married yesterday and then get fired from our job today. And you're right, in 2020, it's just crazy that we're having that conversation. Brett Kavanaugh wrote the dissenting opinion, and it was really an interesting dissent because he essentially said, while this is a great day for the gay community, he believes that it should be up to Congress, not the Supreme Court, to basically implement what the difference is between sex and sexual orientation. What did you think of that argument, that essentially it's not the Supreme Court's job to rule on this? This should be Congress's job, which, by the way, the House had already tried passing the Equality Act, and Mitch McConnell didn't want to do that.
Right. Well, so I think that when you look at this is on the federal level, and this needed to be handled at the federal level. At state by state, it was still legal to fire people, and I think it's about 26 states across the country, for being gay or for being transgender. So for being LGBTQ. This now helps us have some protections around that, and so that they can't do that necessarily. They can still do it, but now we are protected in that. I think more importantly is, why should this even be debated at Congress or at the Supreme Court? These are people who want to work. This is me who wants to get a job and work and not have to be fired because of who I love or how I identify. And I think that is the bigger question that we have to wrestle with in America. That is the bigger question that we have to wrestle with in for Black Lives Matter. Like, why are we still having these conversations in terms of racism, in terms of LGBTQ discrimination? We're still having them on a daily basis. It's 2020. And I think with the coronavirus exposing all of this at a much higher rate than we've ever seen before, that now is the time to dismantle it. Now is to bring up the bigger questions of, why are we even still talking